Colorado now, after losing 7 straight, they've won 3 in a row. If they're not Jekyll and Hyde, I don't know who is. They're 16-15. The Giants, 15-16. They've won 7 in a row. And don't you remember the same thing happened last year at the trade deadline to the Giants? They were floundering all year. They get close to the trade deadline. They roll off 5, 6, 7 wins in a row, just like they're doing now. And they refused to trade pieces. They refused to trade Bumgarner, who could have given them younger players going forward. They weren't going to make the playoffs, and if they did, they weren't going to go far. Same thing this year. If they make the playoffs, they're not going far. Will they trade Johnny Cueto? The answer's got to be an astounding yes. Trade Johnny. Get something for him. Now, I don't think Cueto fantasy owners are going to like that too much. I don't think Cueto thrives anywhere as much as he can thrive in San Francisco. It's the best pitching part in all of the major leagues. But as I'm looking at the standings today, I'm going to tell you the teams that are over 500 in the National League. The Miami Marlins, the Atlanta Braves, there's 2. The Chicago Cubs and St. Louis Cardinals, there's 4. The Dodgers, Padres, and Rockies, 7. And then the team with the next best record in the 8th spot, the San Francisco Giants. Now, they've done it with Yaz having a career year. They've done it with some smokes and mirrors, I guess. But the Giants are in that 8th seed as we sit here today, winners of 7 in a row. Let's see what they do this weekend. I think what we're going to find out is after these doubleheaders, after this weekend, teams will then have most teams, not the Cardinals, over 35 games under the belt with 20 or 25 to go. Trade deadline is mid next week. So I think after this weekend we'll have a pretty good idea where players are, where they'll wind up. I just think Cueto is on the move. I really do. So, we shall see. Let's talk about some DFS plays for today, Thursday. I know this is you guys listening. Lenny starts off our day and his nuggets and scoreboards, and I got to get something different, right? So here we go. A little DFS action for you. Let's talk about pitchers pitching today. How about Kyle Freeland for the Colorado Rockies? Yeah, there you go. Kyle Freeland has started the season with a 2.87 ERA, a 1.12 whip, 24 strikeouts across 37 innings. Now, he's not a strikeout pitcher, obviously, but he gives you quality starts. He had a bad year in 2019. He gets a solid matchup today against the Arizona Diamondbacks. The Diamondbacks have specifically struggled against left-handed pitching of late. They have posted an RC plus of just 45. Common sense talk, 29th in the league. There are only 30 teams, so they're next to last against left-handers. So I love Kyle Freeland today in daily play. Not for the strikeouts, but I think he gets you a win. The Rockies have won 3 in a row. Now, let's talk about some other players you might want to stream. And I'm going to give you some lineups in just a few minutes. I'm just giving you players to think about right now, okay? And I got some more pitchers to talk about too. Stephen Piscotty for Oakland, only owned in about 20% of fantasy leagues. And over the last 7 days, he's really been raking. .310 batting average, 2 doubles, a home run, and 8 runs batted in. Throw in a stolen base as well. And he's done extremely well against right-handed pitching this year with a .507 slugging percentage and an .824 on-base percentage. Thursday, he's facing Texas, not ace, Jordan Lyles, who has struggled against all hitters this year. He has allowed a 15, listen to this, a 15.82 ERA to righties. Okay, so those of you, if you're listening, I talked to somebody yesterday. I talked to Tabitha yesterday. She said, I didn't understand some of the things you were saying. So here we go. What that translates to, against right-handers, he's allowed almost 16 runs over every 9 innings he's pitched. That's a lot of runs. That's like softball league. And that's what Oakland right-handers are facing today. He's allowed a 15.82 ERA to righties and also 4 home runs to them. So in DFS today, to me, Stephen Piscotty is a must-have. Another one, Oakland A, not owned very much. I'm going for people not owned as much, okay? Robbie Grossman. He's having a strong season for Robbie Grossman. 4 home runs, 14 RBIs, 4 stolen bases. All categories, and he's playing right-handed pitching, and he's hit all 4 of his home runs against right-handers this year. How about Harrison Bader, an outfielder? Only rostered in like 10% of leagues. He's been hot lately, a 353 average. 1 triple, 2 home runs over the last 7 days. He's facing off against left-hander Pittsburgh Pirate Derek Holland. Are you kidding me? Against right-handers, he's allowed 55 doubles and 45 home runs since 2018. Another player I mentioned earlier, Luis Garcia for the Nats. He's been good against right-handed pitching, hitting .370, 2 doubles, and a home run across 28 plate appearances. He'll be going up against Spencer Howard, Philadelphia Philly rookie, who has been awful against left-handed hitters. A 13.52 ERA. 3 home runs and just 5 innings pitched. Garcia's been in that 6 hole, so plug him in today. Another scarcely owned player that you want to pick up in daily leagues today, Jose Martinez for Tampa Bay. Yeah, and I've been waiting for him to bust out, right? Tampa's an exciting team. He gets a left-hander today, John Means. Means has struggled against right-handed batters all year, as his 11.88 ERA will attest. And we know Martinez feasts on left-handers. A 968 OPS with 16 home runs, just under 300 at-bats. So those are some players to consider, not own very much. How about some other players? How about Hyun-Jin Ryu, Toronto Blue Jay ace? And I told you they're in the 8th seed as we come in today, and they're playing the Red Sox. Now, the Red Sox can still hit a little. But Ryu, kind of expensive. I'm not saying you ought to go get him. You know, the other day I told you, we saw these pitchers that were priced high, and Lucas Giolito was a high-priced pitcher. And I told you, I like Giolito against the Pirates. Well, he threw a no-hitter. I like Ryu against Boston. He's kind of pricey, but I like him today. Look what he's done late in his last 4 starts. He's given up 1 run or less. He struck out at least 6 in 3 or 4 of those starts. He has a 1.23 ERA, so he's given up just a little over 1 run per 9 innings. A 30%, almost 31% strikeout rate. And batters are only getting barrels on the ball 2% of the time over the last 4 games. And he's holding hitters to a 20% hard hit rate. He'll probably come in low owned tonight since he's pitching in the Coors Field of the East, Fenway Park. And there is a slight chance of rain tonight in Boston. But if he pitches, I think he's gold. Hyun-Jin Ryu. Chris Bassett for Oakland at Texas, $8,200. He threw a good game his last time out, 5 2/3 innings, 2 earned runs and 6 strikeouts against the Angels. And as bad as the Angels are, they can still hit. He's only allowing an 8% barrel rate and a 37% hard hit rate. Now some other options, a very expensive one, Max Scherzer against the Phillies. He's almost $11,000. I don't recommend that one. Takes up too much of your budget. Kevin Gausman, who's a trade candidate, has pitched really well this year, $6,400. And here's a sneaky pick. Here's who I would do. I would go with Ryu and Sixto Sanchez, my 2 pitchers today. Sixto Sanchez pitching for Miami at the Mets. He's only $5,100. Get Ryu. get Sanchez, and then load up on hitters. And now let's talk about those. Vladdy Guerrero Jr. at first base is only $4,300 today. And while it took him a while to get going, in the last 9 games, Vladdy is hitting .333. He's walking 13% of the time and only striking out 10% of the time. He's also barreling the ball 10% of the time over his last 9 games with a 58.6% hard hit rate. Stack J's and make sure you include Vladdy Guerrero. Now, some other options at first base today. Matt Olson. I've already talked about how bad Lyles is. $5,300. Miguel Sano at Detroit. $4,900. And here's a really cheap pick. 2-home run game last night. They're playing the Red Sox. I like him a lot. Rowdy Tellez. Yes, Rowdy Tellez for the Blue Jays. Playing Boston in Fenway Park. $2,900. At second base, I've already talked about Luis Garcia. He's $2,500, guys. You can get Biggio for $5,100 playing against Boston. Not a bad pick. You can get Robinson Cano. He's been a hitting machine all year, $4,000. But for $2,500, Luis Garcia, to me, is the best value today. Another great value, third baseman, Isaac Paredes for Detroit, $2,300, up against Randy Dobnak, who's pitched really well, but he doesn't have great strikeout stuff. Now, Paredes has hit safely in 3 of his last 5 games. During that span, 2 multi-hit games. His average is up to .269. After a few games, it was in the 100s. Dobnak has a 1.78 ERA, yet he has only a 13.5% strikeout rate, meaning a lot of balls are being put in play. The regression monster. I'll do that again. The regression monster. He's got to be attacking Dobnak soon. And Paredes could be a beneficiary of that at a very low price of $2,300. Another option, I'm picking on the Orioles, right? Tampa Bay's Yandy Diaz, who has had a monster year. Speaking of that, I'll go to shortstop. Willie Adames, $3,900. He's been hitting cleanup against lefties. Are you kidding me? John Means pitching for the Orioles. Adames has hit safely in 13 of his last 16 games for a .333 average. He has 10 extra base hits, a 12% walk rate, barreling 11.8%, and over those 16 games, 53% hard hit rate. Willie Adames. Other options, Trey Turner, $5,200. Nico Goodrum, $4,200. John Berti, $3,700. Now we'll look at outfielders and DHs. And to me, you got to have this. This guy you got to have no matter what his price is. He's a phenomenal freak of nature in a really good way. Nelson Cruz. 40-year-old Nelson Cruz is playing at Matt Boyd. $5,700. All right, let's just take our time with this one because I'm really going to enjoy this one. Okay? Here we go. Cruz is a power hitter, and he's facing a left-handed pitcher who gives up a lot of home runs. That's a good place to start, right? Cruz has 11 home runs leading the American League. He's barreling the ball at 16.7% of the time. He has a 45% hard hit rate. He'll be facing Boyd. Oh, my gosh. He'll be facing Boyd, who's allowing a .647 slugging percentage and has allowed 7 home runs over 22 innings this year. If Nelson Cruz is not in your daily lineup today, then you need to quit playing fantasy baseball. Enough said. Another outfielder I really like today is Teoscar Hernandez, $4,300. I'm stacking Blue Jays today against the Orioles. Against Boston. Chris Mazza pitching for the Red Sox. If I said the Orioles, I meant Red Sox.